Hi everybody, my name is Joel Butterly. I'm the co-founder and CEO of InGenius Prep. So today we're talking about what you can do with a law degree. The short answer is that you can do almost anything other than perhaps being a doctor or an engineer, although I guess you could do that too. Getting a law degree is sort of a infamously flexible degree. A lot of people who get law degrees don't actually practice law, but so let's start with that. So you can practice law, and within the realm of practicing law, you can do sort of corporate law, which is grueling but high paid. You can do nonprofit law, which is extremely rewarding and lower paid. You can do legal academia, which is extremely difficult, but actually quite a nice lifestyle and fairly well compensated. And then there's sort of like a whole mess of things in between. Then there's sort of another tier of people who do, like, let's say, political things. So I have a lot of friends from law school who are now running for attorney general in one state or another, or running for Congress, who are running for state senate or state Congress. So politics is obviously a very common path as well. Oftentimes people will practice law at a law firm first, sometimes people don't. That's sort of category 2. Category 3 is legal academia or academia generally. So people might get like a PhD in philosophy or a PhD in history and get a JD as well. And then go into a kind of blended field between the two of them. Legal academia is a very comfortable life. It's paid well. And it can be very, very interesting if you're a really deep thinker and prefer the sort of philosophy more than you like the sort of act of applying it. As with all academic jobs, it's very, they're hard to get. They aren't as hard as, say, a regular PhD in the humanities trying to get an academic job, but it's still, a competitive environment to be in. And then there's sort of people who just do an assortment of business-related things. So there are people who go into consulting. I had friends who went into private equity. I had friends who went into investment banking, although that's a little bit less common. Consulting and private equity probably a bit more common. I had friends who went and worked for hedge funds. And so that happens as well. A lot of those organizations will recruit on campus because they want people who have legal expertise. I think they sort of assume that if you're smart enough to get into a good law school, you're smart enough to learn the financial components, and that you'll then have that in addition to an arsenal of legal knowledge that you can use. Sort of like I think Mitt Romney spoke a bit about the value of his law degree when he was working at Bain and then starting Bain Capital. So I think if you can look that up, I think that's interesting. Kind of goes into depth about the value of it. Then there's sort of people who do entrepreneurial ventures. Like Joseph Tsai, who's the vice chairman of Alibaba Group, was an alum from Yale Law School. There's a whole host of CEOs that come from Harvard Law School. I actually think that's the school that is most or second most represented among CEOs in the Fortune 500, some statistic like that. So that's actually quite common as well. Learning the law is actually a very useful kind of foundation for entrepreneurial ventures. I started 2 companies, a real estate company and then InGenius Prep, when I was a first year in law school, and I found the kind of understanding the basics of law, contract, employment law, things like that, to be extremely useful in starting the company. And so actually I quite recommend a JD for someone who's interested in entrepreneurship, because it teaches you an invaluable skill set that will be very, very useful in sort of navigating the world once you're actually kind of in the thick of it. I think that's pretty much it. There's a whole other host of things that you can do kind of within this spectrum, but I would say those are kind of the most common career paths, and I would say, generally speaking, it is one of the most flexible degrees to get, and probably opens the most number of doors, the most number of different doors, probably more so than an MD, definitely more so than an MD, and probably more so than an MBA. That's it. I hope that was helpful.